much, but he does have this, meaning all of this is currently out of supply, meaning that it won't actually benefit the American commander. So certainly a jolly good move, although not much to actually hold it. Pioneers being suppressed by the MG42. Oh, not MG42, but 30 cal machine gun emplacement, and looks like a Volksgrenadier team was knocked out. Perhaps a grenade, looks like it. And what else? Point being taken back. Not looking good for the Wehrmacht commander, who is still lacking in infantry and troops and support weapons, and in fact a lot of things. Apparently going heavy on the grenadiers, going for the Sturm Armory as well, but still a bit too passive and certainly a bit too surrounded on all sides and penned in. Engineers once more dashing for this strategic cutoff point. Certainly not bad, in particular now since all of the machine guns are currently centered around here. But he is reacting, although not moving in the grenadiers. Plenty of Panzerschrecks, he really must be expecting a lot of armor. And we see a mine being set up here, so perhaps trying to preemptive stop at any sort of armored car rushes right into space. Certainly interesting, certainly not bad. Although again, mining the roads would have been just as nice, if not better, I think. And we see the Kampfkraft Center going up and managing to retake this strategic point once more, giving control of the territories under his control, though again not a lot in fact, and certainly not looking good. And a mortar team, that's certainly interesting, certainly could be useful for his movements, although he really might want to consider actually doing something with it. Riflemen hiding out behind this wrecked pickup truck with the BARs and Garand rifles. Not much though. And we see the Grenadiers dashing forwards. 91st Luftlande Division on the move. And we see the riflemen dashing out of the car once they see the Grenadiers leaving and quickly getting suppressed and under fire from the MP40s. MP40s were rarely given out in such large numbers to entire teams. In fact, the only ones that really got that were in fact the Volksgrenadiers teams, and that was usually because they couldn't get the actual weapons they were supposed to have, which were assault rifles, the SgtG-44. Another funny detail was that in previous versions of Company Views, the Volksgrenadiers actually had those weapons, but I suspect having Volksgrenadiers with assault rifles might have been considered a bit too much, and having MP40s wouldn't really have been out of place, since they were equipped with those if they couldn't get assault rifles. So there you go, a bit of knowledge on the war. Riflemen setting up further positions, further barbed wire going up, creating a bit of a strong point here. Not bad, not bad. Mines right in front of the door. Sneaky, sneaky, lots of mines, lots of barbed wire, not bad. Certainly a good understanding of defensive positions, and of course really helpful, in particular since the Wehrmacht player isn't really doing much to actually attack. So certainly good usage of barbed wire, although now these positions are getting bombarded by mortars, so not all good. And seeing a tank depot and a howitzer going up, so let's have a look at Sergeant Bootstrap, or Captain Bootstrap, who of course has gone for infantry, and he's certainly going to be trying to apply a lot of pressure and bash through the lines of the 91st. Was certainly not looking to be in a good condition, and I suspect that if a Sherman was to move in with artillery support and some infantry support, things might easily crumble here. And again, that does require that they actually make a move.
And that's the ball game. Construction finished.
And what is this? A Sturm Armory going up for Captaintyre, hoping for some armor assets to support his forces.
Enemy unit down. Enemy
And we hear artillery fire going in somewhere. Right here, apparently. Apparently opting to clear away any obstacles that might be in the way, including mines and barbed wire. With artillery, certainly a feasible use, and I do believe artillery has been used in that way as well. Could be he was also hoping to catch something, but I know I'm suspecting it more looks like he was just trying to clear obstacles and be a bit of a nuisance, which using artillery can really get on some players' nerves, and in some cases lead them to recklessly try and charge your artillery position. So Mr. Bootstrap, having enough manpower and fuel to go for any armor assets he might like, although not going so a bit interesting, perhaps he might go for the crocodile then, which is quite rare. But there we go, engineers bashing right through the shattered defenses, getting suppressed though. Might want to use some of that artillery to clear out some of this, or we might be saving it for the actual assault whenever that comes. Strategic point captured, or at least rendered neutral. And Panzer clearing out some more barbed wire. Friendly fire on the pioneers, and grenadiers charging right into this position. BARs opening up. Veterancy 2 for the grenadiers, meaning healing for themselves and elite armor. And we see further artillery crashing in right on the strategic point. Well thought out, but apparently a bit delayed, so it couldn't stop the seizure of the point. But it certainly caused a full rout. Floating a bit of resources here, really might want to consider getting something with all that fuel and manpower. And what is this? The Stug 4 Sturmgeschützfear, one of the two major variants of the Stug, the other one being the 3G, which was based off the chassis of the Panzer III, and was the most numerous version, since there weren't really much use for Panzer IIIs after the Panzer IV became the main battle tank of the Wehrmacht, in which case all of the factories were turned towards the Stugs. The Stug 4 was a result of one of the factories being bombed out, and because the Stug was easy to manufacture and was quite needed for the Wehrmacht armored forces, one of the Panzer IV factories was turned towards creating Stugs, and of course using the chassis of the Panzer IV for those Stugs. So, further information on such matters. And we see the Volksgrenadiers charging ahead with their MP40s, not meeting any resistance. And what is this? An M10 tank destroyer, apparently having decided he wants that. And what is this? A second howitzer. This is a lot of artillery fire, but then again, it's certainly possible because his opponent isn't really doing a lot, isn't doing much to put any pressure upon him. And certainly a more aggressive opponent might certainly have tried to dislodge some of his defenses and done a lot more to him. Stu getting hit directly by the artillery and knocked out in a vicious barrage, absolutely horrific. And there goes the rest of the wreck, rendering it non-salvageable for the Americans. Wehrmacht player really should have reconsidered his strategy here, I think.
Heavy infantry reserves are now
Playing
available.
much too defensively, in particular on the side with the fewest victory points. And once more Americans going straight for this strategic point, but encountering a bike, and looks probably that bike will meet a very quick demise. And there we go, catching fire and blowing up. And German forces reacting to this incursion, going to set up perhaps no artillery support since the howitzers did fire on that Stug. MG42 setting up, or not, apparently not setting up, in fact being cut down. Might want to get out of there. Oh no, it is setting up, and now it's being cleared out. Not good at all, leaving behind an MG42, which the Americans might try to seize if he's sneaky enough. Apparently not. Second MG42 setting up. I hear mortar rounds crashing in, probably trying to stop that point from being taken. And riflemen being cut down and suppressed by the MG42. Mortar rounds hitting as well, killing engineers and riflemen alike, although they are still holding on, still seizing the point. Another rifleman down and another engineer dead. And now artillery fire is raining in on the MG42 positions. Not good at all, not good at all, but still no actual charge from the Americans. They're still content in holding the eastern half and just poking a bit to the Wehrmacht commander, holding him on his side. Really, it seems like no major assaults, no attempts at making a decisive blow. And what is this? A medical bunker up for Captaintyre, although not much wounded to actually pull back. Certainly a bit too late, I think, for getting something like that. Still no attempts at even seizing these points. And we see another M10 on the field. And what is this? Some sort of artillery strike did go in. Gone for terror and calling in rockets, incendiary ones, knocking out the howitzer and apparently machine gun emplacement. Foes grenadiers charging in here, but being met by BAR fire from this building, are forced to pull back. Not much of an attack. And what is this? A second Stuke now with veterancy 1, meaning it will take 25% less damage, which can certainly also be useful. Grenadiers charging in, seizing this point. A lot of unfocused effort, really. Could easily be picked off by the Americans. And there we go. M10 dashing right behind the pack, which was not pointed in the direction of the enemy base, and is now getting focused from all sides, trying to cloak and sneak away, being covered by the Grenadiers. Stuke holding back the left, not much. Panzerschreck hitting the ground. Riflemen charging in, clearing out the pack. Grenadiers also forced to pull back. Stuke actually killing something with its gun, which is certainly quite the surprise, since the Stuke is pretty useless against infantry for the most part, which is something I'd like to see rectified, but let's not get stuck on such matters. Stuke taking a lot of frontal fire, the Americans having seized the pack, firing away at the Stuke, and Stuke cleared out. Mortar round though hitting onto the American positions, killing a lot. Riflemen deeply wounded, further rounds hitting in. Apparently the mortar round is awfully exposed. M10 standing right next behind it. Second M10 pulling back, having gained veterancy 1. Mortar still doing nothing. Certainly in a lot of danger. German counterattack forcing away the Americans, who apparently have no anti-infantry units here. Only the M10 and the pack need infantry. Rangers now being called onto the field, taking on these grenadiers. Might go well, might not. And the M10's engine is destroyed. Germans clear out the pack, meaning the pack will probably switch hands again. There we go. And the M10 miraculously survives another shot, although it is using its gun. Rangers continuing the fight against the Grenadiers might want to move up and support the M10 before it is too late. And there we go. Shot to the rear and careening out of control and ejecting a few members. Second M10 in a overwatch position here. German troops desperately trying to get out of their M10, crashing through the barbed wire. And Rangers might want to seize that territory, and there we go. Second mortar up. Certainly not bad, although looks like the other mortar was lost. Tragic loss, I suppose. Strategic point once more being taken by the Americans. Panzerschreck Grenadiers once more